Hello, friends! Look, I'm wearing pink and not black or gray today. Also, my hair's down. I feel like it's up almost every time I film, but it's down today. Just got a headband. So, I've been thinking about Harry Potter a lot lately, because, well, obviously the J.K. Rowling interview was a big deal. I guess we'll take sides here. Katie and I both are Ron Hermione fans. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. And also, we've been watching the movies because my seatmate hasn't seen them, so we just finished the fourth one last night. So yeah, so that's what we're doing Harry Potter thing. And there's something you should know about me, is that one of my absolute favorite characters, like he's my favorite Weasley, one of my favorite characters in general. I just love the Weasley family in general, but it's Percy. And no one else, like very few other people like him. So I'm going to talk about why I like him so much, because he's really great, and I think he's really underappreciated as a character and as a person. I mean, he's not a real person, but he counts. It's really important to look at how the books must look through Percy's point of view, because when you separate yourself from Harry, it's easier to see how his stories could be a lot less believable. As much as we know and love Harry, Percy doesn't, I don't think, know him as well. Like, you know, it's just his little brother's friend, and you're not as close to those people, necessarily. Sometimes you are. When you look at them through Percy's point of view, it's a lot easier to see how he could have a distrust in Dumbledore and a distrust of Harry, too. Because, you know, like in the first book, Dumbledore just kind of allows them to do the Sorcerer's Stone, that's what it is. You know, like, you can see that as Dumbledore allowing them to do that, like having this in a position where people can get into it, not necessarily guarded as well as it should be, or that people will be able to get to this guarded, like, you know what I mean, like the guards are dangerous, obviously, the things that are happening there are dangerous, and Ron gets seriously hurt during that, and it can also be seen as, you know, Harry dragging him into danger. It's not, obviously, but Percy doesn't know that, and the same would be for Chamber of Secrets, which, by the way, Percy is the one who has to write that letter to his parents to tell them that Ginny's been taken down. Percy's the one who has to write that letter, and then he locks himself in a room, his own room. He doesn't see anyone, he's just in there. Try to tell me he doesn't care about his family, because you're wrong. I'm sorry, that's not an opinion, you're wrong. Harry and Ron go down to the dungeons, and, I mean, it's a bad situation, and it could also be seen as Harry taking Ron along. You don't know. And the same thing with the third one. Even in the fourth one, when Ron's, like, down underwater, and maybe personally knows rationally that Ron's not in danger, but you see him in that book. That's when he, like, runs flap, like, because he's a judge, because Crouch is doing his Crouch stuff, meaning being cursed by his son, but that's a different story. You know, he, like, runs down to make sure that Ron's okay. Once we get to book 5, to Order the Phoenix, it would be easy to see how Percy would be like, hey, maybe Harry's a dangerous person, look at all these other stories about him, look at what I've seen of what happens around him, and maybe Dumbledore's not the best person. Maybe Percy, I mean, I think they saw him as manipulative and, like, wanted power and stuff, or that's how Fudge saw him. I don't know how Percy saw him, but, I'm inclined to think that he saw him as not necessarily fit to run the school or fit to take care of students, I guess, which I think there might be legitimate arguments for that, but that's, again, another video. So, I think it's also good to look at how Percy's family treats him and how he relates to his family. Because a lot of people want to pretend like the Weasleys are perfect, and they're not, and that's okay. Yeah, part of it, I think, is Percy's uptight, and he can't take a joke very well, but also I think sometimes I feel like Arthur. I love Arthur. I think he's a very good father. I don't think he's a perfect father, and I think that shows a lot with Percy. I know I would be devastated if my father thought the only reason I got a promotion was to spy on the family, because that kind of implies that you would spy on your family, or like, and I think Arthur's trying to get him to, like, not be naive about it, which is good, but it sounds like it didn't, you know, happen in a good way. And I feel like yeah, Mrs. Weasley, I mean, is the only one who goes after him, and he's rude to her, obviously, which is inexcusable. But yeah, like, Arthur doesn't do that. Arthur ignores him at work, and I think he lets his anger and his pride get the best of him. And the same could be said about Percy, but a sense different from a father, you know? Like, I think that's the father's role, is to say, maybe, sorry, someone just walked past our window, to say maybe, like, hey, we were wronged here, and you're my son, and we're in the middle of a war, and if you would come back, I would like that. To just swallow your pride there. And Arthur doesn't do that, and that's okay. It's okay. Like, Arthur's allowed to not be perfect. That's it, really. So if you want to talk about Percy, or talk about anything, or just be our friend, you can follow us on Tumblr, and I'll post it down there, and you can like or subscribe or any of that stuff. I feel like I need to put this in here because all other YouTubers do it. So yeah, I hope you liked the video, and Katie, I'll see you on Sunday!